Value Stream and organizational hierarchy. Today's topic on the Value Stream Management Consortium's Flow Shorts. I'm Joshua Barnes, and I'm joined by Dennis, and I'll let Dennis introduce himself.
Thank you, Joshua. Really glad to be here. Yeah, my name is Dennis, formerly Dionysis Svoronos. I am based in Athens, Greece, and I work for Deutsche Telekom in Europe. So, yeah, value streams and hierarchy. For the past 2 years, I have been working about how to implement value stream practices in traditional organizations like Deutsche Telekom, and I'm looking forward to discuss on that.
Yeah, and this is such an interesting topic, especially from somebody, right, that can share their thoughts and experience in a global organization, and one that has gone down the path of adopting Agile. One of the things I think that would be really interesting, Dennis, for you to cover is, so with Agile transformations, there's a bit of a siloed focus, right? I mean, we're looking at making an improvement in one area, but the majority of Agile frameworks don't really cover end-to-end flow.
That's true, and don't really cover, but also it seems that we haven't yet discovered this holy grail of agility at scale that everyone is talking about, but we struggle to make it in practice.
Yeah, so the topic today is actually based off of an article that Dennis wrote. And Dennis, if you want to just put the link for everybody in the chat, just so that is they potentially want a little bit more information, they'll be able to go down into that. But I know in your article, you talk about what oftentimes is referred to as the inherent challenge, right? Where we've got a disconnect between the organizational hierarchy and how value gets produced, right? How the work gets done, which is going to flow kind of at the very bottom of that hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly. And we try, with empathy or from an agile coaching perspective, to think that these people are, meaning the business leaders, may fear that they lose their functional management and command and control power. But I think that this is the top of the iceberg. Like in traditional rigid organizations, we're talking about business leaders who have been successful for decades. Managing to making money, making employees satisfied. And we come and propose them a different way that will save them from disruption. So these are bold claims to people who are successful. So we need to be vigilant and take care of the way that we communicate to them, how we continue to make them successful. So we need to take care of the states before discussing the content and the power, first of Agile, and then for a methodology like value streams.
Yeah, so I know just a little bit from what you've shared as far as sort of a bit of the steps and things that happened at Deutsche Telekom, which is common for companies of that size and scale. So Agile was kind of brought in, but now at some point you wanted to bring in the potential benefits of looking at things more from a value stream management perspective. How did you do that, and what worked and what didn't work?
Well, actually, I had an opportunity in a business initiative where we bring first external consultants to tell us if there is like any business valid use case there. But then we decided to go and do it ourselves. And there were challenges around how much value, how much outcome we can produce. So in my mind, to my knowledge, this was like a value stream solution came to my mind. But it isn't what I talked to my boss, to my business owner, to my sponsor, because they do not care about how I'll do it. What they care is about numbers and the results and bringing the outcomes that the external consultants have promised. So I went there, and even though I know that ideally we want all the team to sit and do, for example, the first step of the value stream mapping, I did it myself, and through giving some ideas that, for example, decrease our time to market, thus increase our efficiency and productivity, trust me, and I will bring you more ideas like that. So building rapport with a give and take reciprocity, method, then building trust and then eventually telling them when they are interested about, let's promote the way that we have worked and we have succeeded. Oh, you know what? We developed value streams here, and they are so happy about it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've seen work time and time again for me as well, is where you're able to do something and put it in the context of the organization or an area of the organization, or again, one of the value streams that exist, to be able to start showing people like, this is what we mean by this. And then here are some of the things that we're seeing that are that where delays are at, or that bit of drag or friction is at. And then also leading them into thinking about some of the options we have to potentially solve some of those problems, or improvement opportunities.
Exactly. And there are many options, like in business, and I believe like nowadays in the world, it's very easy to tend to polarities, that it's one way or another, it's my way or your way. But
Yeah.
I think that if you dive deeper and you search about the whys of the other person, what they want, how you can bring stakeholders' expectations and customers' needs on the same table, you will see that we have more things in common than things that divide us. So instead of going into a conflict, which can be like an let's say agile evangelist versus like a business leader who wants only numbers, it's not like that. We need to dive deeper into about the people, what motivates them, and that's a way that we bring things forward.
So in the flow short that we did last week, one of the things that we touched on is, there are times where you'll mention something like value stream management, and especially in the context of a digital product, and we'll hear,
Mhm.
well, we don't have value streams, or that's not going to work for us. So you at a very large company, what are some of the things that, like, responses that you've gotten when you've tried to bring up VSM or a benefit that's related to that?
Well, it depends. Like in a very big company, you have so many different people, like from different backgrounds, and people like example project managers or agile experts. They are very eager to hear more about this and how it comes. Or let's say business experts that have worked some time ago into lean theory or production lines, and they know about these concepts and they wanted to implement them, and how they move from mapping to management, like what is the key difference, or how is the idea about scale. These people are very interested about it. Usually, like since we talk about right now hierarchy, and these people, they're more interested in the results, and as I said before, it's about combining this stuff. Like I will show you an example. Right now we are implementing in a executive level the value streams in a specific sub-organization in Deutsche Telekom. However, the difference in terminology is pretty clear. I would say the executive leaders use them more as a unified customer journey in order to unify all the different functions that developed a similar product, like, for example, a cloud initiative, other than an organizational way about how I manage the steps of the organization in order to achieve the customer value. So this is something different. However, or maybe at the same moment, if you think of this as a conflict, maybe it's a lose-lose situation, probably. So you need to ask yourself, look in the mirror, say, how can I be the change that I want to see in my organization? How can I take advantage of what the organization knows as value streams? What is their wish versus their need? And then apply my knowledge into them and have a win-win situation. Because at the end of the day, it's, let's say, more of the experts, not responsibility, but opportunity to speak the executives and the hierarchy level language in order to create collaboration.
Yeah. So, hi, Aldo. Aldo Rawl has got a great question, and I'll give some thoughts, and then Dennis, I'll ask maybe some of what you do in your organization. So, one of the things, Aldo, that I'll say as far as how value is defined, there are some things that might be at the organization or sort of the enterprise level, and there's things that we'd want to be doing within a value stream or within a value network specific to defining value in that context, right? And it can be things like, if we're a for-profit company, it can be, revenue. It's going to, increase
Mhm.
transaction volume, generate a new revenue stream. It could be from a customer perspective, things like maybe decreasing customer acquisition costs or increasing market share, feedback, operational, the cost of not doing, possibly keeping us in compliance, right? So keeping us from, within certain risk parameters. So a lot of what I cover in some of the training workshops and coaching that I do is first to take a look at how we might be defining value. And that's going to be a number of things, right? And then we also have to balance from an ordering perspective, not only what's of highest value, but what is possible to bring into the workflow and actually start and get completed, right? So there's constantly that. And then how do we get people in that investment decision, right? What are we going to be working on for the portfolio management space? Well, how can we take something like a portfolio backlog of minimum value increments and get people to not only see their thing as the most important? And so we have a technique for value scoring, right? We have relative value comparison where we're laying out sort of all the cards on the table, all these value increments, to be able to get input into what really is the most important thing based on how we've defined value. Again, that could be for an area or layer of the organization, as well as overarching, and then how to use that as an input to see what we potentially might be wanting to bring in the workflow in the near term.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, just an addition with that is, as we deep dive more and more inside of the layers of the value stream, it will be likely that we see that we have internal customers, and our value that we provide in our stream is let's say, a heavy dependency and an input for another value stream. So how do we treat this internal customer as if it was the end customer? Do we take so much care of them? Do we collect their feedback and adapt our value proposition to that? Or do we say that we are the experts and we know better? That's a nice reflection that I tend to have a lot with my teams.
Yeah. And that there's so much opportunity when we're looking at value stream management, again, the end-to-end flow from ideas, requests from customer stakeholders to when something is actually consumable. But what we consider more on the business side, again, our portfolio management and that product management space, there are almost always such great opportunities at organizations to make improvements there. And again, that's normally far outside of what we normally find with agile transformations, which is unfortunate.
And the power of visualizing that and focusing on so much on the dependencies and how we coordinate two different stepping stones in order to achieve a common goal, it's very, very powerful, and it really can increase the collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. So for additional depth, more from a deep dive perspective, take a look at the article that Dennis wrote. And if you have any questions, feel free, please post them here on LinkedIn. We'll both be kind of monitoring this over the next week or two. This is still May. So from the VSMC's championing the Value Stream Management Awareness Month. So take a look at take a look and search for the hashtag FlowMoMay. Lots of interesting articles and posts and things out there. Dennis, any parting thoughts for you?
No, some amazing content, of course, you will find. And if you have any ideas of future talks, please let us know in the comments. We'll be happy to come up to you.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on our next Flow Short.
Thank you, Joshua. Thanks, everyone.